Welcome to Art with Ali. On YouTube, I'm the Ali, so let's make some art. Mountains are tight, right? They're tall, and they're pointy. What more could anyone ask for? They're made in nature by two tectonic plates colliding with each other, forming that elevated formation. Now, when you think of mountains, what shape usually comes to mind? That's right, triangles, and bigger triangles. Mountains actually come in 4 different shapes: pyramids, upside down pyramids, hourglass figures, and diamond shapes. But in this video, we're just going to focus on pyramid shapes. Now you're going to want to use some art supplies for this video. Nothing fancy, anything you can find at home. We're going to start off with a pencil. This isn't a fancy pencil, this is just a normal regular old schoolhouse pencil, an HB. So let's just start off with a simple mountain shape. We'll draw the horizon. And just give it 2 snow caps. It's nice, simple. Now, we could do something to make it a little more interesting and less cartoony. Now you're going to want to make the pyramids lumpy, because they're formed in nature and they're not perfectly geometric. There's 3 mountains. Now, instead of adding snow caps right away, let's add some shadows to give it some depth and contrast. The easiest way to find out where to put shadows in anything is to figure out where's the light coming from. For mountains, the largest light source happens to be the sun. So let's figure out, in this drawing, where the sun goes. Let's put it here on the left side. We're going to give it a little smiley face, because it's nice out. Now that we've drawn where the sun is coming from, we can figure out the shadows. You're going to want to divide up the mountainscape with shadows and light sources. So there's 3 different mountains, so we're going to have 3 different divisions of shade. 1, 2, 3. Nice and simple, because they're on the opposite end of where we decided the sun's going to be. Now that we have that, we can just shade that in. You're just going to want to add some little mountain ridges for detail. Nothing too fancy. Almost like little dabs and scratches. We can also add little ice caps if you'd like. Now, something you can do to make your mountains a little more picturesque is to add a depth of field. One way of doing this is overlapping the mountains. Now, individually, there's nothing wrong with these mountains. Now, something you can use to fix that is by adding another mountain of a different size in the background or in the foreground. Now, you can almost see into the mountainscape. Now for the next part, we're going to draw mountains, but add some things to it outside of snow caps. Now we've established a shape. Now we're going to find out where the sun comes from. We're going to pick the sun coming in from the left side, just to change it up a little bit. Now, just like before, we're going to divide up where the shadows are coming from. Now, just like before, we're going to add some mountain ridges on the light side. Now that we've drawn our mountains, let's add something to them. You can add little trees just by drawing a vertical line, just little horizontal lines that get longer and longer towards the end. Something to keep in mind is these trees are going to be small. We're focusing on the mountains, so you don't really need to keep track of all the details of the trees. You can just keep them short, simple, and silhouetted. And I don't know if the camera is picking this up, so I'm just going to draw a little bit bigger. Now that you've gotten a handle on how to approach mountains, the next thing I like to talk about is perspective. Mountains are big and tall. Some of the biggest and tallest things on this planet. In the previous drawing, we did this by adding trees to show perspective. Another way to show perspective is how much space in a drawing those mountains take up. So for the next part, we're going to draw a mountain. Just like we have before. We'll make this one a little more jaggedy. And we'll add a little mountainscape in the back. Now that we have the shape of the mountains, we can divide up how the shadows will be laid out. We've added a lake. Why did we add a lake? To show how tall those mountains are. But something to keep note in this drawing, because the mountains share a higher space, the lake is smaller, thus the mountains are taller. And just like before, we're going to add some trees. We'll add a sun there. Now for the lake and the water, I just drew little squiggly worms. Sometimes I'll add a little bit inside the squiggly lines to break it up. Like that. You can also add some more details like clouds.